terrible with sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory,
A special treat for you guys. If you guys have been watching my French and Indian War Fort Upper Track series, I decided to come down. There's an event here at Fort Edwards, and this is the Fort Edwards Foundation. This is their museum. I'm going to do some walk and talking here for you guys. I'll let you know how the fort used to sit. This fort actually was attacked by the Indians, and this fort here, this land actually was surveyed. This is an actual survey. They got it in the museum here. This land was surveyed by George Washington himself. So this is an early period property. This is a well-known landmark. It was the Edwards family, and I'm here with a special guest. And actually, this is Cliff. And Cliff, he has a YouTube channel. You guys need to go check it out. It's called the Wandering Woodsman. It's real popular, you guys. Real popular. He's going to be overtaking the Hoover boys here before you know it, and he's about to them now. So Cliff, just real briefly, tell my fans what your channel's all about.
It's just kind of a combination of nature and history, outdoor adventure stuff.
Yep.
Sometimes with people like this.
yeah. All right, so you guys that are homebound, I tell you, some of my fans, I get requests to do adventure videos. A lot of homebound people can't get out because of COVID or whatever, and you know, they like to be able to live nature by through video. So we're going to walk around here. Cliff and I are going to walk around. He's going to be doing his video too, and we're going to show you guys. This is kind of a period reenactment from the French and Indian War period. All right, so let's get started.
Well, the captain knows there. He knows it.
Like this. All right, you guys, I am actually here. You guys are going to have to tell me who you are, who you're with, what.
Captain George Mercer's company of the Virginia Regiment, circa 1756. Our company was massacred here on Easter Sunday in 1756. The battle is known as the Great Cacapon, but it was familiarly known as Mercer's Massacre. Mercer's younger brother, John Fenton Mercer, was a lieutenant, and they got tricked by Killbuck the Indian and was massacred not too far over there, right, Jim? Jim's our regimental historian, right, glasses?
I'm one of your YouTube followers.
Oh, okay.
Very popular in the movement.
We've emailed.
Okay.
That's that face.
Killbuck. I mean, he's the one that sacked Upper Track and Cybert and
Osama bin Laden.
this one, and I think Fort Foran. Fort Foran was another one that was attacked. So do you guys do reenactments in Winchester at Fort Loudon?
Yes.
You do Fort Loudon as well?
We're going to have an event at Abrams Delight in September.
Abrams Delight. Well,
Actually,
in July we
we need to head to that. All right, so tell me who you are. I get
Colonel James Wood.
Colonel James Wood. And who was Colonel James Wood?
He's the clerk of the county, Frederick County. He was a good friend of Colonel Washington and helped him get a seat at the House of Burgess.
Now, you guys, believe it or not, I'm in the Sons of the American Revolution James Wood chapter through Joshua Jones. You guys have already seen that video. If you're not, I'll put a link up there. So you guys have to check it out. James Wood.
Colonel Wood was also at Fort Necessity when Washington was...
Okay.
Oh, sir, I can get you a much better piece of footage. Don't take footage of this. This is slop.
Thousands are going to be seeing you. Actually, probably tens of thousands.
No, don't do that.
Because Cliff's here too.
Here, do me a favor. Hold this right here for me. Thank you. Chop that off there. Okay.
So tell me, is this coal? Is this just, where would they get the coal back in the pioneer days back here? Did they just import it in?
exclusively charcoal.
Charcoal.
It would
Okay.
have been very, very rare for them to have coal here.
Now, I explained to my fans that early period square nails would be called rosehead nails because of the top, how the top was pounded.
Yeah.
It would be beveled.
Yes.
Four different beveled sides, and those were a very early period, 1700s, very common in the 1700s, a forged nail.
Yes.
So,
Start getting cut nails in the 1780s.
so sir, what kind of musket is this?
This is a Brown Bess.
Brown and Bess. Okay.
This was the military musket of the provincial soldiers and the British soldiers. It's supplied by 3 different companies.
Okay.
But, this is the Brown Bess, and there were several models of it. Some didn't have the brass up here. Some had a wooden ramrod. The earlier models had no brass with a wooden ramrod. Then they went to the brass with the steel ramrods. Then they went to another model which is actually shorter than this, I think by 4 inches. So they tried to get them down a little later. This is called a spark guard here. Keeps you. This is a modern day thing right here. Has to keep the fire from hitting the person beside you. This is your frizzen protector. That keeps the flint from hitting the frizzen, causing a spark in your pan.
Okay.
When you open the pan, your powder goes in here, okay?
Yep.
And then you close the pan on that. You take this off and pull this back, and when you pull that back and pull the trigger, the flint hits this frizzen, causes a spark, pushes this forward, throws the spark down into there, and ignites the charge in the barrel.
Now, to load this, how would they load the bullet,
No, initially,
the lead ball in the?
Well,
into
you
this?
have a paper cartridge in there.
Okay.
You take your paper cartridge, which would have a ball down here and your powder up here. You tear the top off of it. Okay. You open your pan, put a little bit of powder in there, close your pan, turn the gun down. The rest of the powder would be dumped down the barrel. Okay. And pull your ramrod out, tuck your powder down, and then take the ball and the paper, put it in the barrel, and shove it down with your ramrod, and that's your patch. The paper then makes the patch for the ball. So, but that's how you would load it. Then it's all done, since we're military, it's all done on a command basis. And there's a series of commands, you know, that go through to load your gun, get it ready, and fire, and all that kind of stuff.
Would you put the black powder here last? Because
We do it first.
you do it first, but how do you keep it from falling out?
When you
You
close
close the cover.
when you push this,
Oh, okay.
you put this on.
Yep.
You put a little bit of powder in there, and you close this down.
And that keeps it from
That
falling
Keeps it
out.
from coming
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
That surface here mates on this surface here, and the only thing you have is that trough right there.
Okay.
So yeah.
And when you fire, the cock or hammer, as they call it too, it comes forward. It opens this up, but at the same time, it's sliding down there and dropping sparks in the pan.
Okay.
So that it will ignite
The black powder.
powder in. Well, hopefully when you load this, you tilt it a little bit and shake it. Try to get some powder in that hole.
Yeah, there's a touch hole down inside that in that channel. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a little hole right there. Yeah, he's putting his pick in it now.
See that?
Yep.
That goes into your chamber.
Except when the Indians are on top of you, you're panicking and you're trying to do it really fast.
No, that's why you have the bayonet. That's why you have the bayonet.
That's great for behind a defensive wall, but when you're out and the Indians are coming up against you, I mean, you've got just a select amount. Now this is interesting because I always thought these were like pistol balls. I found a number of these.
Yeah, well, these trade muskets would fire a 62.
A 62.
This is 62.
Okay.
All right, in the barrel. It's loose
Yeah.
because a lot of the powder didn't burn back then. The powder wasn't the greatest stuff, and a lot of it didn't burn, so it would build up in the barrel. Back, you know, where you're dumping all the powder in.
Yep.
So the ball was made smaller so that it wouldn't jam up in and the gun would explode on your face.
One thing is, I come across a lot of this size.
These are the trade guns. The French were trading these to the Indians.
When you're watching my videos and I show you these and I keep saying that these are pistol bullets, they're
Well,
not
they could
pistol.
be. Well, they could be.
They could be.
All depends on the caliber.
Okay.
But they could be pistol ball, yeah. And you could fire a few of these out of
Oh, well, holy cow, there's one right there. Why didn't I see that? So they did have...
blunderbusses.
Okay.
Yeah, they had blunderbusses. At sea, they would use brass, copper, or bronze barrels.
Okay.
Because the steel would, from the salt there, the steel would be rusty every day.
So did they have steel back in that time period?
Yeah, they had steel barrels, yeah.
Okay, so the bullets. Let's go through the bullets. You have...
Okay, this is a smaller caliber. For
And
the
that's
smaller
a 62.
Caliber, 62 or less. You know, small. It's as loose in a 62, but it could be firing a 62.
But it was a French musket.
These were French. Yeah, they were called fusil de chasse or fusil de chase. The Indians would trade them to the fur trade hunters, or the Indians would get these from the French.
Okay.
All right, and then next one up is a 68. This is a 68 caliber, which the French used in their guns. These two guns are French guns. Okay, they would fire 68 caliber. You could get more balls. Remember, we're over here thousands of miles from the Europe. So they had to get lead over here and give it to the soldiers. So if you had a smaller caliber, you could get more shots out of a pound of lead. Okay, so the French were using a smaller caliber gun. Now, such as this one and this one. Now the British were firing 75 caliber, and this is actually like a 72 caliber ball, so it's loose in the barrel. Okay, that would be for this gun and this gun. Now these two guns are the same gun, all right, except the Rangers would take and cut the barrels down, all right, so they were lighter to carry. Remember, you're walking from here to New York. You're carrying everything you got. These fired just as far, just as accurate, and they also would darken the barrels, so the sun wouldn't reflect off of them.
Let's give them away.
Give them away, right, to the Indians. And that's why the Rangers, you know, like you see Rogers Rangers, they would wear green, but they wouldn't wear red uniforms. Well, the idea of the red uniforms and the shiny mustard, the soldiers were required to keep the barrels shiny, because they wanted to see the soldiers marching down with their drums playing and the pipes playing. They wanted the other guy to see the soldiers marching down, all the barrels glistening in the sun, as to how many soldiers there were. And then up in the front, they'd have the grenadiers marching. The biggest guys in the army were being the grenadier company. They marched up front, and they had the big pointy hats on that made them look like they were 8 feet tall. The idea was, geez, these guys are monsters. There's thousands of them. You're seeing all the guns, but it's probably just hundreds, right? But the idea was, if we could get you to turn and run before we even fight, then that was the whole purpose. You know, we want to be there and get you out of there, and if we could get you to leave without firing a shot, then that was
successful.
Successful, right? The last one here. This is an 85 caliber. This for this baby.
Holy cow, look how long that is. It goes from up there. What is that, about 6.5 feet, 7 feet?
6'5", 6'6".
Oh, can you imagine carrying that into battle?
Well, the idea is, we weren't given rampart guns or wall guns that the British and the French had. So we would take shotguns. You know, these were used for hunting. You know, they would fire a shot just like a shotgun. And look, I can stick my finger down in the barrel. That's it. And instead of shooting shot at them, we would make it a solid ball. And this is basically a piece of artillery now for us. The typical range on a musket would be, if you hit something at 75 yards, you were lucky. If you hit something at 100 yards, it was a miracle. Because the ball, remember, these are smooth bore. All the guns are smooth bore. And the ball's smaller than the barrel, so the ball's going like this down the barrel. It could either be going left or right or up or down. So when the last thing it hits, depends on which, it could go this way, it could go that way, it could go up, it could go down. And that's why they fired in volleys at each other. They lined up in lines and fired each other. You may have 30 guys shooting at another line of 30 guys. Maybe 4 or 5 guys will hit something. But it might not be the guy you were hitting at. It could be 3 guys to the right or 3 guys to the left.
Now, the soldiers, the militiamen, did they have uniforms back in the French and Indian?
The militia really didn't. No, they would dress whatever they had.
All right, you guys, we're going to go down here to the palisade walls. And this palisade here that you're going to see is not the actual fort location. The actual fort location I'll point it to you. It's right behind these trees. There's an old cabin, log house back here, built in the 1700s, late 1700s. And that house was built actually on top of the foundation where the fort actually stood. The state of West Virginia has come and done a professional archaeological dig here. They're not done. So this area is not open to the public yet. And what they've done is they built a small palisade here just as a demonstration on how these palisades were done. Okay, so this would be a typical palisade wall during the French and Indian time period. This would be how they would do it. They would actually stick these logs down in the ground here. You could see there's probably a lot of gaps. I mean, you can still get shot through that, so I don't know how much protection this actually provided, and I don't know how deep this is. Fort Upper Track series, if you haven't seen those series, go back and check those videos out. I'll do a playlist. I'll link the playlist up here in the top of the screen, and you'll be able to go and check these videos out. You know, the Aqua Chicker talks about how deep these would be and how they would be buttressed. The uprights would have rocks around them, and that would keep them upright. So he says he went down 3 feet. Personally, I don't know. He could be right about that. I don't know. But you can see 12 to 15 feet high. They might even put shoot holes in them, just like that right there. But you can see, you know, I mean, you get enough pressure on this, you probably could shove that thing down. I have no idea. I don't know how secure these things actually were. In the case of Fort Upper Track, they weren't very secure because the Indians were able to take that down and burn it. All right, let's go back up here. Let's show you some more of this, and then we're gonna go to Fort Frederick. Fort Frederick's up the road here. It's in Maryland, and right now we're in Cacapon Bridge, West Virginia, and that's where Fort Edwards was. They're getting ready to do a live reenactment, and this is reenacting an actual battle that occurred right here by Chief Killbuck, who murdered and massacred all the settlers and the militia down in Fort Upper Track and Fort Sybert. This fort also was hit and attacked, and a good number of the people were killed. So they're going to reenact this. And it was the same Chief Killbuck who came with the French from Fort Duquesne and Pittsburgh. These are reenactors, but they actually come in here from New York and up and down the East Coast. The Indians, volunteers here from the tribe along the coast, Eastern Shore, and they also came up here for this. So they're not just reenactors, they're actually recognized Indian tribes. There is a museum here that's open to the public on weekends. If you guys ever make it down this way to this part of the state of West Virginia, you need to stop in here. All right, you guys, I'm going to end this little episode right here. Cliff and I are going to head up to Fort Frederick, which is the biggest fort around that was of the French and Indian War era. Hope you enjoyed this little clip. Hope you enjoyed this little adventure. You guys need to check out Cliff's channel, The Wandering Woodsman. We'll catch you on the next one.